guys are the last two to need those.
How'd you know I got one?
I see how it is. I don't get one. Okay, I see how it is.
We'll share with you.
I don't want it.
I got one. I read the last name.
Find my packet.
Uh-huh.
Council meeting January
In other words,
7th,
it's a good reason.
2014.
That's all that matters to me.
The tape is
Appreciate the fact
recording.
they actually wrote it for once.
Okay. I'd like to just remind the council, again, even for the new councilors, that it's very important that you might be facing your face so that we don't get feedback. Okay?
Facing the face.
Councilor Shetty? Greg? Okay. 7 o'clock. Call this meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And the roll call, please, Twyla.
Yes. Council Garrison?
Present.
Councilor Bickford?
Present.
Councilor Pesky?
Present.
Councilor Brunel?
Here.
Councilor Ward?
Present.
Councilor Mativier?
Here.
And Councilor Lund?
Here.
First item, Twyla.
Is Order 2014-5A to go into executive session per 1 MRSA Section 405-6A, Personnel Matters.
I'll make the motion to go into executive session for
I'll second it.
2014-5A.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Order passed, 7-0.
Okay, we'll go over here and continue with the agenda when we return.
Hey, Bill. Ross.
Ooh, it got chilly in here.
Yes, it did.
Extra stuff.
This is it.
What's this?
Oh, I took this one. That's,
Okay.
these are just numbers. Okay, thank you. Thanks for your patience, everybody. Our next item, please, Twyla.
We have no good news and recognition.
We want to move the appointment up.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. Would you like to do that? All
Thank
right.
you.
So the next item would be Order 2014-7, the interim town manager appointment. Did you want me to mention that the previous meeting on January 3rd, 2014, the council held, and it was videotaped, but we did not have sound. Please accept my apologies. There was a problem with one cable connection, and I assure you that it is now working. And at that January 3rd, 2014 meeting, the council took a vote, 2014-03, to adopt a resolution which did not renew the town manager's contract, and that contract had ended on January 6, 2014. And so the next order of business is the 2014-7 interim town manager appointment.
I would move to appoint J. Michael Houston as interim town manager under the terms of agreement to be signed.
I'll second that.
Before we move forward, we'll have a brief discussion, obviously, what we just discussed. We looked for a person who would be local to us after listening to what many people in town have asked us to do. We took advice from many different directions. We spoke with the folks at the MMA and other resources to make sure that we're moving in the right direction. We spoke with Mr. Houston about his qualifications and his dedication, and he is willing to serve with us as an interim town manager, and we're happy to meet his terms. Does anybody else have anything? I think that should be it. I hope that folks take the opportunity to meet him later on. Okay. Do I hear a motion?
We have a motion?
We already have the motion.
We need a vote.
No.
And a second.
Should we have a roll call vote?
Yes, please.
Probably a
Okay.
good idea.
Thank you.
Okay,
I'm sorry I sprung it on you, Twyla.
that's fine. Counselor Bickford?
Yes.
Counselor Brunel?
Yes.
Counselor Garrison?
Yes.
Counselor Lund?
Yes.
Counselor McTevier?
Yes.
Counselor Pesky?
Yes.
Counselor Ward?
Yes.
7 yeses, 0 nays. Order passed.
Thank you.
Would we like to go back to the regular agenda?
Thank you, all.
We'll make better introductions another time. And our next order of business, please, Twyla.
Is audience participation?
Okay. Twyla, I think on the new, am I looking at the current agenda? Did I get the wrong one?
Good news and recognition.
We have good news and
Sorry, we
recognition
added that for it.
first tonight.
Oh, did you have some?
Sorry, we
Yeah.
can't
Oh,
before that.
okay.
Yeah, we do.
All right.
We do.
Oh, all right. I didn't see it on there. All right.
And we'll swear in, we'll swear Mr. Houston in later, or do we have to do that?
Do that right after the meeting?
I think that'd be good.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
So
Save
good
the
news.
swearing until later yet.
So the good news and recognition?
Okay, I know that we have at least one or two bits of good news.
Oh, yay.
Mr. Bickford?
Yes. I'd like to thank Public Works for keeping an impossible situation at least open so people could get through town. It was, last 3 or 4 weeks has been something that I haven't really seen in a long time. And I just credit them for doing a good job.
Thanks.
I'd like to add to that, also send that thanks out to members of the water department. So I also saw them out about clearing drains. I know my street is less icy thanks to that, so appreciate their hard work.
I have a little bit more general good news. I had the opportunity, along with Counselor Pesky and every other counselor here, yesterday to be here at the town office after what was a very difficult announcement to the staff and department heads in town. That's not the good news. The good news is that I saw so much strength and purpose in the staff here, and it really gave me a great feeling. I had the opportunity to talk to, I think I was able to talk to every single person who works in this part of the building yesterday, and I really had a great feeling of moving forward, and I was able to talk with Tracy Stuber, our Economic Development Director, and I was talking with her because I had been asked to write or to help write for the news agencies. And so I asked her to help me get part of that view from that office. And she just made a little list that was over half a page. And that was a great feeling. To know that so many staff, and because they're not just employees when they work in this town office, because they work for and with everybody. And to see everybody working together and working so hard, it was a great feeling. And It wasn't the best day, and I understand that, but I think everybody in this office and every employee, even those who work off-site, really were up to the task yesterday and did a wonderful job, and I applaud every single person for that. It was a great feeling. So thank you all. So our next item, please, Twyla.
We have no public hearings. It would be the audience participation.
Thank you. Mr. Warren?
Good evening, Council. Steve Warren from Lisbon. One of the items on your agenda for tonight was the DEP action in relation to the sewer spills in town. And I've had some communication with DEP with the intent to improve the environment here in town, the physical environment, and part of mandate is to do that through the actions that they take related to the violations, the fines. They will allow up to 80% of the fine to be met with a local action. And so I presented a couple of ideas to them, and they responded favorably and said that it would meet the guidelines. We would have to flesh it out with an actual proposal, but I've outlined a couple of Project A and Project B is listed in front of you, and the DEP's guidelines for what does qualify. So Project A would be invasive plant removal along the Sabattis River. We did a pilot project last year and removed an area of Japanese knotweed and quite successfully. And if we continue that for the half mile from the boat launch upstream, it would make a significant impact. That's the area that's most inundated with the Japanese knotweed. And you can see the methodology that would be used. The second project would be the area that's referred to as the Koodle, is a wet area where the Alder Brook runs into the Androscoggin River, and there's a large amount of debris, and the railroad tracks create some wet areas that are mosquito breeding grounds, and we can do a substantial environmental improvement by cleaning up the debris that has found its way. It's a lot of tires and barrels and that sort of thing that have collected in that pond, and then doing some landscaping. I think we could do some significant improvement to the landscape and meet their requirement. So I'd recommend that since we have to pay the 20%, that we go ahead and do that to show good faith that we want to do what is required of us, but present them with a fleshed out proposal to do these things. Any questions or?
I don't think we have any questions right now, Mr. Warren, but we may refer to you later, and as you know, we have that on the agenda for an executive session later, so we appreciate the input. Anybody else? Okay. If there's no one, we'll move on to the next item, Twyla.
Audience response.
Well, I think we're all set.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. And next?
The consent agreement, Order 2014-5, to approve an off-premise catering of Lewiston, a mass gathering permit for Positive Change Lisbon exempt fees, and the minutes of September the 10th, 2013, and December the 17th, 2013.
Make a motion to accept Order 2014-5.
Second that.
All those in favor?
Order passed, 7-0.
Next item, please.
Madam Chairman, I do have an oath available now. we can swear in Mr. Houston.
Oh, good, all right.
All right. Bye.
Do that then?
We'll take that item out of order.
Okay. I think it would be one or the other if DEP would accept either one of those.
I solemnly swear
Like credit
I
to
solemnly
us.
swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution
the Constitution
and will obey the laws
and will obey the laws
of the United States
of the United States
and of the state of Maine,
and of the state of Maine,
that I will,
in
all
all
respects,
respects,
observe the provisions
of
of the Charter
and ordinances
and
of
ordinances
the town of Lisbon,
and will faithfully
discharge the duties
of the office
of
interim town manager,
of interim town manager,
so help me God.
so help me God. Thank you.
You can share my agenda.
Thanks.
Next item, please, Twyla.
Under Council Orders, Resolutions, and Ordinances, Order 2014-06, the mobile home property tax lien waivers. We have,
So Jessica is here if there are counselors who have questions, but usually we do mobile home property tax lien waivers because the town of Lisbon isn't in the business of owning mobile homes. And it gives the town an opportunity to work with those folks to help find a way to get their taxes paid. So usually we just go ahead and do this if we hear a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
order passed 7-0.
Thank you.
Then we have an item to be added to the agenda, Madam Chairman. Would it be appropriate to do it now?
I believe it would.
Okay, Order 2014-06A, to approve the tax collector's certificate of settlement for 2009 for $7,000, $7,289.18. For the year 2010, $4,691.62. For the year 2011, $20,358.45. 2012 would be $25,580.50. For the year 2013 would be $20,832.64, and in 2014 would be $5,248,492.77.
Jessica, would you like to just briefly explain? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to catch you off guard. Just briefly explain why we need to do this.
The certificate of settlement is to, because tax collector is a personally liable position, this is to settle the taxes with the former town manager and allow us to recommit the taxes in order to have a valid commitment with staff currently on hand so that we can continue to collect payment and move forward with the collection.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Is there any way that we can get a breakout of those years that Twyla listed off?
Yep,
Okay, great.
I can do that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I have sheets, individual sheets for
Oh.
each year that need to be signed
Right.
as part of the order. So they'll be on that,
Perfect.
and I can either make copies or consolidate it onto one sheet for you.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
It'll be attached to the minutes as well.
Great, thank you
Great.
very much.
How will this motion read, Twyla?
The motion will say, will read to approve the tax collector certificate of settlements for 2009, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14 for those amounts I previously read.
Thank you. Do we have a motion
I'll make the motion.
and a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Order passed 7-0.
And our next item of business, please.
Is under other business, the Water Department legislative update.
I think Mr. Bauer's here for that, yes?
Thank you. Members of the council, I'm here only as an informative I believe very strongly in communications between all departments within the community. I think that's the only way we're really going to get anything done. The Board of Water Commissioners will be appearing before the legislative hearing tomorrow, and I wanted you people to hear from me or from the board firsthand what was going on. Members of the Utilities Committee heard last night, and we felt it was only in best interest that we inform you rather than having you pick up a newspaper somewheres or hear about it through scuttlebutt. And the commissioners believe that it's important for us to go forward with our legislation that was presented to form a water district. We believe this because the opportunity exists, given that it will take more than, well, at least a year, probably 2 years to make it happen. In November of this year, there would be a referendum vote to approve or disapprove the formation of a water district. If it's approved, then we would proceed and hopefully in the year 2015 have that district formulated. There needs to be a lot of questions asked and a lot of answers given to make this thing work. I expect that any district would, as a matter of prudent operations, seek to work in cooperation with the town, where it's economic and efficient. It's important to share and reduce costs where appropriate. And the Utilities Committee has been working on trying to investigate ways of saving money for the sewer department and for the water department where we can utilize each other's facilities. And we're still in the process of doing that. And we hope that this would reduce costs where appropriate. We know that there are some areas that need to be investigated further. The board felt that we should appear tonight and explain to you that tomorrow is a legislative preliminary hearing, I guess they call it, in Augusta, and we are going to proceed with that. Then it would be voted upon by the legislature, and it would be up to the Lisbon Water Board to promote it, and I would have to appear before you a number of other times to answer your questions and see what you're looking at. And then it would be up to the people to vote on it in November, as I already mentioned. And if it votes in the affirmative, then a district could be formed. If it is defeated, then we would go back to the status quo as it is right now. So with that in mind, if you have any questions, I'll try to answer them at this particular time. If you don't have any questions, I'll let you proceed. Oh, one other thing I want to mention before you do that. I look forward to working with Mr. Houston on this, as he has done some work for the water department as far as our original charter was concerned many years ago, but it was done, and I look forward to working with him on that.
Thank you, Bill, and having served with you on 2 or 3 committees over the years, I look forward to renewing that.
Thank you.
Bill, I just want to say thank you to you and the commissioners for taking the time to let us know last night what you guys were doing. We had a great 2-hour conversation about it. I think there's going to be a lot of hoops jumped through, a lot of things that we still need to do to work together. But I think this can be positive. We've seen a great deal of communication between the council and the commissioners and the town staff already. And I'm just looking forward to the continued cooperation between us to move forward with Lisbon, if it's a water district or if we combine something with the town in the water district, whatever we may do. I am looking forward to working closely with you guys, and I think we can make something this really good.
Thank you. This opens the doors to allow us to work on this. That's all it's doing.
Just,
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I was just wondering, because I know that we had some legislation that came from the town side rather than the water department side a little earlier this year. And I was just wondering what the difference between what you're asking for and what that was asking for would be, just so that folks understand that there's a difference.
The town introduced a bill to the legislature to take over the complete Upper Water Department. The board felt that this was not appropriate, the Lisbon Water board felt this was not appropriate. We introduced our own legislation to form a water district. It then went to committee last April, I believe it was, and at that particular time, the committee more or less said, go back to the town of Lisbon and try to work things out. That's not exactly what they said, but
That's what
they were-
happened.
That's what they were trying to do.
Yeah.
And thus, the Utilities Committee was formulated, and that's what we're trying to do, is to work this thing out. And if this proceeds, it opens the door so that we can try to form a district, and there are other entities within the community that can be formulated into this at a future reference, at a future
So
date.
is it the Utilities Committee or the Water Department, or who put this legislation together for us?
The Water Department put the legislation in to formulate to form a district.
Okay, so the folks who work at the Water Department here did it, it wasn't, I just want to get a clear picture
It
about.
was the legal counsel, we hired legal counsel to do it through the Maine Rural Water Association,
Gotcha, okay,
and that's where it stands right now.
okay.
There are some pluses, and I'm sure there's going to be some minuses.
Well, I wrote pros and cons.
Right.
That's helpful to me. I hope it's helpful to some other folks. Does anybody else have any questions for Mr. Bauer?
Down the road, I really, really think it's gonna be a very town of Lisbon. And I've worked on this from the day it started. And I really, really think that it's something that the future is gonna be built on in this town. We've, there are so many towns that have done this. You know, it's part of growing. And that's, I really think down the road, it's gonna work out pretty well.
Just to, oh, excuse me, I'm sorry.
I'm done.
Just to follow up on what you're saying, I did a rough analysis on water services for the state of Maine. And there are 154 water companies in the state of Maine. And you have to be under Maine Public Utilities guidelines. There's 154 in the state of Maine. 66% of them are districts. 26% are municipal departments of some form. Now, Lisbon is a municipal department as far as, but not all municipal departments are the same. They all have different ways of working. And the rest of it is all private-owned water companies within the state of Maine. So I did this for a rate comparison as far as analysis was concerned, and I was pleasantly surprised. I have those figures if anybody wants to see them. I'd be more than happy to share them with you.
You were able to go to some of the meetings and,
I was just gonna ask him a question for the public, but he just answered it, so.
okay.
I already had the answer.
Yeah, right now, there are 103 districts in the state of Maine. There are 25 owned by, 25 water utilities that are owned by municipals, and 26 owned by municipals, and 25 owned by private industry, which they are a stockholder, usually a stockholding company that operate for profit.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Bauer. We appreciate the information that you've brought to us, and I understand that you've been very good about making sure that when people have questions that they're answered, and we appreciate that.
And just for clarification, when you have a cell phone, your name doesn't go in the telephone book anymore.
That's right.
So if you call the water department office, you can get my number and call me at any time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, the next item, please, Twyla.
Is new business.
Okay, under new business, this is a new part of the agenda with our new working rules. This is the opportunity for members of the audience to have some input on something that might not be on the agenda. There is one difference from the audience participation portion of our agenda, in that our time limit is 2 minutes. And we know that everyone knows what those new rules are, and if you don't, they're on the website. Is there anyone who'd like to speak?
Roger Cody, Lisbon Falls. We've all been told,
Your mic.
we've all been told that we should come to the council when we have a question. Don't just guess, don't take gossip, come to the council. The rumors on the street that we are in serious issues with sand for the winter. Is this true or false? I know we've had a big stress on it this last couple of in the last couple of weeks. Are we running low on sand and salt, and is that going to be an issue, and is it being addressed?
Lisa?
I'm going to actually answer all the questions in the next section on this, so we'll answer
Okay,
all the
'cause I
questions
can-
at once and make sure we cover them all, if that's okay. Okay. There's,
Don Fellows from the Lisbon side of things. Just one brief statement, which is really a question. I wonder if it's appropriate for Mr. Houston to tell us who he is and to tell the town who he is, for those who don't know.
why don't we do that when we do our responses? And that is a good question, Don. Anybody else right now? Mr. Warren?
Steve Warren, I'd just like to follow up on the Water Department's presentation. As a member of the Utility Committee, we are exploring the possibility of having the water and sewer combined, and so that should be out there for the public to know that we are exploring those options and trying to figure out the benefits of doing a combined operation.
Thank you. Well, if there's nobody else, we'll go ahead to the answers. Mr. Bickford, did you have a response?
Yeah, on what Roger said, I mentioned it to Mr. Beals, because he come in and paid me some money today for work done. And he said, as of right now, everything is fine. But they did have a small problem.
So what we can probably do is go ahead and have Mr. Houston talk with Ryan Layton, who's our town engineer, and make sure that we have that covered from every direction. Great.
I just heard gossip.
Yeah, and
Yep.
I believe that Callie Houston had a load of salt come in and shared it, because they do share. And I believe that's how it was. He had a load come in, so it was shared.
Would you like us to get in touch with you, Mr. Cody, and let you know?
No, it's fine.
Okay,
The question was asked to me, and I don't know.
okay,
I was just asking what.
okay. Mr. Fellows asked who Mr. Houston is, and I think we'll have a short introduction. I invite anyone who would like to meet him personally to stop in at some point along the way, but maybe give him a little bit of a chance to acclimate. Mr. Houston was recommended to us by several local residents when we talked with our professional resources. We also had good recommendations. I know that Mr. Houston has worked in the past as an attorney. He has also worked as an interim manager in other towns. I reached out to people wherever I had the opportunity to make sure that we had the right person. And when I met with Mr. Houston, I felt that he was very personable, and that was a really good thing for moving into such a difficult position at this time. I have confidence in the folks who referred me to him, and the folks who gave me references for him had confidence, and I felt that after speaking with each of the members of the council that we made a solid choice. He's done a lot of different things, from finance planning to interim town manager and hotel manager and county administrator. We think he's well qualified for this position. And he was not the only candidate. And we had one other solid candidate, one who didn't work out just due to time. But both candidates had many different qualities that we could benefit from during this interim period. And after talking with council and what we were hoping for this, we decided that Mr. Houston, who's also extremely willing and a local person, that we just felt that he would be a good fit for us for this period. Mr. Houston?
Thanks. Houston is not an unknown name in this town, and I want to let you know what I said to the planning board when I moved here in 1984 and had to appear before the planning board. And I was asked what my relationship to Carl and the rest of them were, and I said, well, none. That I was a new Houston moving in, and when Carl was alive and I was a selectman, if the Board of Selectmen did something that he liked, he would refer to me as some distant cousin. And when we were more likely to do something that he disapproved of, Carl made it very clear that there was no relationship at all. And so I like to say that I am related to some Houstons in town, my wife Sharon and my two kids, both of whom have moved out. But I've lived in town since 1984. For those of you who were around during town meeting time, I was your town meeting moderator for close to 20 years. Served 2 years on the Board of Selectmen. Whether you like the charter or not, I was the chairman of the Charter Commission. And there are at least two people sitting in this room who were on that committee with me. I have been the city manager in Hollowell and up in Oxford. And for the last 3 years, I've been the manager of a hotel that I own with some college friends in Booth Bay. This is our non-open season. When I was asked if I would consider this, it didn't take long to come to the conclusion that I think it's a job that I can do. I think that it's a job that needs to be done. I have no idea, frankly, whether I will apply for the full position or not. The board, or at least Lisa, has made it clear to me that if I want to, that's an option I may have, but I don't think anyone should have any expectations that having landed the interim job, a full-blown search for a new and permanent manager. You may actually want somebody who's younger than I am. But I am looking forward to this. I think we've lived in town now, almost 30 years. I guess this will be our, sometime April will mark 30 years, which for some of you is a drop in the bucket. I understand, 5 or 6 generations in town. But in my lifetime, this is the longest I have ever lived anywhere. Grew up in a military family, that's going to happen. I like Lisbon, and I look forward to having the opportunity to serve as your manager. And if things go well, this will be the longest I ever have to talk at a council meeting.
Thank you. I think we're ready to move on to the next item of business.
That would be Order 2014, 8 appointments. Treasurer.
Okay,
Because we did the interim town manager appointment.
right. just to introduce, we, as a town, need to have a treasurer and a tax collector so that those duties can be done in the normal order of business. Jessica Malloy is our finance director. She's qualified to do it. Usually the town manager, several years, has done it. We as council have discussed it, and in order to make a smoother transition down the line when we get to the point where we're hiring a full-time manager permanently, we would like to see that transition be a little easier and not have multiple series of paperwork and bank paperwork and state paperwork. So the suggestion has been that we appoint Jessica Malloy, our treasurer, and then as our tax collector, also for the time being. Twyla, can we vote on both these at once, or do we need to separate them?
Yeah, you can vote on them both at once.
Okay. So we would look for a motion to accept as...
Appoint. Motion to appoint.
A motion to appoint, I'm sorry. A motion to appoint Jessica Malloy as treasurer and tax collector until we decide otherwise. I guess that,
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
all those in favor?
We're passed, 7-0.
Thank you.
Next item is council communications.
Okay, so now that we've split up on our working rules, we have good news at the beginning, so now we have to have other kinds of news, not meaning bad news, but other sorts of things. So if anyone on the council has any communications?
I do. I have a couple things. I was really happy to see how the new business portion of our council working rules worked this evening. If you guys that don't know, this is our first meeting with the new rules. We're trying it out to see how it works. So we want better communication between the citizens and the council. How it worked this evening was exactly what we're looking for. There's a concern is brought to the council, so we can work on stuff and get it resolved and respond to you. So I urge any other citizen that has something that maybe you're not getting somewhere, or you want to communicate with the council in the full form, that is your opportunity. And take advantage of the opportunity because we're here to work for you. My next piece I have is yesterday. I could have talked during the Good News Recognition, but I want to bring it up again. Yesterday I had the opportunity to work with the town staff to deliver the hard message. I was here from 7:30 in the morning to 5:02 last night. There is one thing that I noticed from being in the building is the staff is very professional here. They were going, amongst their business as they would on any other day. It was hard news to deliver, but the staff is committed to moving Lisbon forward. They're committed to representing the citizens like they would on any other day. And we are very fortunate to have the staff that we have working for us as a community. The last piece I have is by 3 different citizens regarding the last council meeting. Something a little unusual happened. We had a workshop before the council meeting, and then after the workshop, we went into a vote to talk about, and we voted on the new council working rules. All 3 of the citizens informed me that they liked that the workshop was taped because when it came to the vote, we didn't have as much discussion, and they knew exactly what was happening. They got to hear the dialogue between the council. They asked if that could happen more often. I said, I don't know, but I would bring it up to the council so everyone could hear it. I did urge them to contact you. I'm not sure if they did or not, but I'm not sure, Twyla, if we have how that works with the time with stuff being aired, but I did tell them I'd bring it up during council communications.
Thank you. Any other counselors? I have 2 quick things. The first is had a tough few days since Friday, and for those on the council, it's been a little bit longer than that. But I would like to personally thank, both for myself as chair and for the council as a whole, thank those who reached out to the council to offer assistance, advice, input. It was all extremely valuable, and it really gave me a feeling that I live in a small town, and it was a good feeling. And I think it's one of the reasons that, because we didn't have to sit here and try to figure everything out ourselves. Everybody who stepped forward and offered invaluable advice, we thank every single one of those people. We couldn't have done it on our own as quickly to help get things moving smoothly. We couldn't have done it without that input from the general public. The next item I have is that I had a phone call recently from a local business. It's the Riverside Animal Clinic, which happens to be the place where I bring my kitties. It's close to my home, and I hate hearing them scream in the car when I have to bring them to the vet, so the shorter the drive, the better. It's a great little clinic. Anyone who goes there will tell you. The folks there are always really nice. It's so close, and it's very friendly. The reason I got the phone call was because it came to their attention that there was a rumor of some sort going around that they weren't going to be in business much longer, or they were going out of business. And so they just called to let me know that they will most certainly not be going out of business anytime soon if they have anything to say about it, and that their business is thriving, and that they appreciate the patronage of the folks in town, in the town of Lisbon. And again, I recommend them. I love bringing my kitties there. I only have 2. It's not like I have 10. So that's all I had. Anybody else?
I'd just like to, for stepping up to the plate on such short notice. It's always hard to find somebody, and it's great to have a good candidate fall right into our lap when we needed him. And I look forward to working with you, Mike, and congratulations.
Just keep that attitude as we go forward.
Yes.
All right, we have another item, please.
Next item is executive session, Order 2014-10, to go into executive session per 1 MRSA, Section 405, 6E, consultations with legal counsel, DEP fine.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Order passed, 7-0.
We don't have a vote when we come, we don't have a vote when we come out of that, do we? We don't. So, there'll be no more action this evening other than adjournment.
Okay, I'll turn the, are you staying in here, or are you going in there?
I think it'll be easier to stay in here.
All right, I'll turn the cameras
Thank
off.
you. That's right, I know, it's his right hand, right here.
I use bathroom quick.